The kind-hearted witch. My name is Adisa. I am called a witch by my people. They fear me, and I understand why. My hut sits on the edge of the village where the forest begins. Smoke rises from my roof, and the smell of herbs fills the air. To them, I am strange, but I have never harmed anyone. For years, the people have whispered about me. They say I curse their crops. They say I call sickness upon their children. When the wind howls at night or the rain refuses to fall, they blame me. The mothers warn their children, do not go near her hut. I don't argue with them. I don't defend myself. I simply leave. Every morning before the sun rises, I walk into the forest with my basket. I gather leaves, roots, and bark. I pick flowers that only bloom in the early hours. These are not for curses, they are for healing. The village does not know that I leave these remedies at their doors when they sleep. When a baby cries endlessly at night, I leave herbs for colic on their doorstep. When a farmer's hands bleed from blisters, I grind leaves into a paste to soothe his wounds. I give them these things without asking for thanks. But still, they hate me. One day, a sickness came to the village. It started with fever and shaking. Then came the coughing. The people were afraid. The healer they trusted, an old man named Baba Kofi, did his best. But his roots and teas did nothing. People began to die. They avoided me even more during this time. Some said it was my doing, that I had brought the sickness to punish them. I watched from my hut as they buried their loved ones. I wanted to help, but I feared they would drive me away or worse if they saw me. So, I waited until the night. Under the moonlight, I went to their homes. I left small pouches filled with powders made from the bark of a tree deep in the forest. I had used it before to fight fevers. It worked. At first, they did not trust the pouches. They threw some of them away. But when Baba Kofi himself grew sick, then none of his medicines worked, his wife found one of my pouches on their doorstep. She made a tea with it out of desperation. Baba Kofi's fever broke the next day. Word spread. Slowly, others began to use the pouches. They saw that the fever lessened and the coughing stopped. The sickness faded. The villagers were confused. Who is helping us? They asked. One night, they decided to keep watch. They hid near their doors, waiting to see who was leaving the medicine. I did not know this. I carried my basket as always, moving quietly in the dark. As I reached the first house, I saw the flicker of a torch. Stop, someone shouted. I froze. The men of the village surrounded me, their faces full of anger and fear. It is her, one of them said. The witch. I held my basket close. I mean no harm, I said. You brought this sickness to us, another man yelled. No, I said. My voice was steady, but my hands shook. I brought medicine. They did not believe me. They dragged me to the village square where the elders gathered. I thought they might ban me or chase me away forever. But then Baba Kofi stood up. His voice was weak, but his words were strong. She saved me, he said. The tea my wife gave me came from her pouch. Without it, I would be dead. The villagers murmured among themselves. One by one, others came forward. The pouches saved my child. The tea cured my wife. The elders looked at me. Is this true? They asked. I nodded. Yes. I have only ever tried to help. Silence fell over the square. The people stared at me, their faces full of shame. They had hated me, blamed me, and yet I had been the one protecting them all along. From that day, they no longer called me a witch. They called me a healer. Some still kept their distance, too proud or too afraid to come close. But others began to visit my hut. They asked for remedies. They brought me gifts of fruit and grain. I am still Adisa. I still live on the edge of the village. I still walk into the forest every morning to gather herbs. But now, when the people see me, they nod. Sometimes, they even smile. I do not need their thanks. I never did. But it feels good to be seen.